Hello. Hi. I am so excited to be here. This is my very first YouTube live. So I am really excited to spend time with you. I have been wanting to hop on a live for a while and chat with you about saving money and finding better ways to be savvy with how we spend our money so that we can save more and still buy the things we need. So, yeah, I can't wait to see your questions. I have some things that I want to talk about, but more of your questions are the reason why I'm here is because I want to be able to answer your questions. I get a lot of questions in the comments, and I thought it's a perfect opportunity for us to hang out and chat. Hello from Oklahoma. Hi, how are you? Hello from Michigan. I love it. Hello, hello. If you guys don't know, I am in California. I'm in Los Angeles. So, for people who are coming to a very first live on any social media, um, and you don't know who I am, let me just introduce myself. My name is Gina Zachariah. I am the founder of Saving Wiz, and I help you save money on everyday things so you have more money for the things you love, for the things that matter, and that you're not spending all your time trying to figure out strategies that work because I've done all the legwork for you. So, I'm a busy mom, have two kids, live in LA, a very high cost of living area, and I've learned strategies and techniques along the way that have really helped me as someone who is incredibly busy and pretty much always running around. So, I want to be able to help you with the same thing. I'm also a person who has been in the finance space for many years. I've been in finance for over 20 years. I understand how budgeting and money forecasting works. I also work for a really large organization managing their budgets of over $5 million. So I understand, even on a larger scale, what it looks like to budget and forecast and really be able to spend your money where you've planned it. And I have been doing this, the online thing, and really like sharing more of the tips and tricks and strategies with you for the last 5 years through savingwiz.com. So that's just a little bit about me. I am so happy that you are all here, and I can't wait to start this chat with you. Hello from Tennessee. You need help saving. Okay, you are in the right place. Hello from South Carolina. Hi, guys. Hi from Ontario, Canada. Hello, hello from Kentucky. Oh my gosh, I'm loving this. First time I've been here to a live. First time I'm doing a live. This is the very first time for both of us. So I'm glad we get to experience it together. Hello from California. Hi from LA. Yes, you are very close to me. I'm from Milwaukee. Hello, hello. I'm so happy you guys are all here, and we are going to be talking about a lot of savings. Actually, I was just on a live call maybe a couple of hours ago, and we were talking about this, and I wanted to talk about it here too because I think it's really important. We don't take enough time to set ourselves up to purchase with power. Let me say that again. We don't set ourselves up and give ourselves the time to purchase with power. What I mean by that is whether we are grocery shopping or we are shopping for a car or clothing or new accessories or whatever you are shopping for, there is this weird sense of urgency that we feel that we have to get the item now. It has to be now. And it's not even just about delayed gratification and impatience, it's really the way that we are marketed to. And I think it's really important that we address it and find better ways of setting ourselves up for success because the way that we are manipulated with marketing, it makes us feel like we have to buy the thing now or it's not going to exist in 5 minutes. And it's never really the case, right? We're always seeing that these items sometimes get to be even cheaper than we purchased them for if we had just waited a little bit longer. And a lot of the times, the items that we get don't work as promised. right? So taking that extra time gives you way more purchasing power, but it also allows you to weigh out that product and see if it's really good for you to purchase it or not. I'll give you an example because this comes up a lot. I talk about savvy saving a lot, and savvy saving is basically, to me, a more fancy way to say frugal. People don't like the word frugal, and I get it. I know why you might not like that word because it feels kind of cringy and it sounds like it's cheap, and they are completely different things. Completely different things. Frugal and cheap are on completely opposite sides of the spectrum when it comes to spending money. I'll give you an example. You walk into a store, you're buying, let's say, a purse. You walk into the store as a cheap person, you are going to look for the most inexpensive purse option and walk out. That's all you're going to do. As a frugal or savvy person, you are going to research to see where they have the best deals for these purses. You're going to figure out what you want in the purse, what color you're looking for, what the reviews are on that purse, where you can get it and be able to get it for a better price. You're going to look at the quality of the purse so that you know how long it's going to last you. You're going to look at the style of the purse, whether it's trendy or classic. You're going to figure out all of the details of your purchase and weigh out the value of that purchase based on the price you're going to pay. Savvy people tend to spend a little more than someone who's cheap, but that's because a lot of the items you're buying are lasting you much longer. You're able to get so much more functionality out of them. That makes it a value purchase versus a cheap purchase. When you're a savvy shopper, you take the time to figure out all of the details that make the purchase worth your while versus just buying something at the cheapest cost and then you might have to buy another item in a year or two because that one didn't last very long. You see the difference? I'm from Copley, Ohio. Hi, how are you? Glad to be here and need some help saving. You're in the right place. Amazon does that. Yes, I was just talking about that. Amazon does do that. It'll send a notification telling me I still have an item in my cart. Yes, I've turned off those notifications. And I don't know if any of you were in the savings challenge that we had. We had a 7-day savings challenge. We usually have it every single year at the beginning of the year and then sometime around August, September because I want to be able to set you up for the holiday season and get you to really start saving money within those 7 days and then you can start really like having all of the money that you need or at least a lot more of the money that you need for your holiday season. So we do this about 2, sometimes 3 times a year. And every single time we do it, I also do it with you live, right? These 7 days are every single day we are doing it together. And every single time I go through the 7-day challenge, I am taking the Amazon app off of my phone because it's kind of like a detox for me. It takes me out of that mode of checking it all the time because it's so easy to spend money when all you're doing is clicking on a screen once. It's so easy. And then if you click on it and you decide, "You know what? I'm going to wait a little bit. I'm going to think about it." Amazon's like, "Hey, you forgot to pay for this. Like, hey, we need you back on the app." Right? So it's all about marketing tactics. They want you to feel like there is this urgency that really doesn't exist. I don't know if I said this earlier, but this live is going to be for 30 minutes. So if you have any questions, don't be shy. Put them in the comments. I'll try to get through all of the questions that I can. I love abandoning carts and I get a coupon 90% of the time. That's a good strategy. to encourage me to finally purchase the item. So not only am I mulling over the purchase, but if I need it, I now have a discount. That's a really good strategy. The only part of that is the idea that they will like kind of continue to ping you for it, and then you'll start to see it more on social media. So like when you're going through your feed, that item will show up. That actually just happened to me. We were purchasing a new car. I've had my car for 15 years, and I have been planning to buy a new car for the last year and a half. So we were ready to go. But when I was like doing my research, oh my gosh, the amount of cars that came up on my feed when it never came up before was insane. And I used the private tabs. So it wasn't like I was using just a public tab, I was using incognito. And it was just, it was so many intruding like posts one after the other. Everywhere I went, I felt like I was being bombarded. But you're right. Sometimes when you leave it in the cart, it's like they give you an incentive to come back. Hello from New Zealand. Hi, how are you? Hello, hello. What do you do about the envelope challenge? What do you think about the envelope challenge? I think it's a great challenge. My thing with the envelope challenge is it doesn't develop skill for you. So, anytime I'm showing you how to save money in a certain area of your life, I want to show you principles. I want to change your way of thinking about it. I want to have you change your habits, your routines, and not excessively, but enough that it starts to serve you in the saving category, right? The envelope challenge, yes, you're being mindful of spending less, but I don't know that it gives you a lot of long-term skills that you acquire or develop through the challenge. So it is a really good challenge because it forces you to save money. But I think there are better ways of saving money while you're developing that new savings muscle. They have a way regardless. That's true. It's really obnoxious. Yes, I agree. The ads are obnoxious. I'm here for any advice, tips, and saving hacks. I'm so happy you're here, Valerie. Question: what's your opinion on splitting monthly bills in half? So it depends on the bills. If it is a straight interest, like a mortgage or a car, then it is a really good idea for you to split them in half because essentially you are paying two extra payments per year. So if we split the payments, let's say monthly, you're going to do 12 payments, right? But if you're splitting it in half, then you're doing 26 payments, right? Half of 52 weeks. So you have an extra, you're doing 13 payments essentially instead of 12, but you're paying the same amount that you would have normally. So it is a really good strategy when you are paying straight interest, not credit card interest. So not interest that fluctuates from month to month, but straight interest like mortgage, like a specific set loan where you have a set loan payment amount you have to pay every single month. Those types of payments are really good for paying twice. For things like energy or like household utilities, it really doesn't benefit you that much for you to do it that way unless it makes it easier for you when you are paying through your salary, like if you get paid twice a month. However, usually the way that I teach you how to budget is you are budgeting per paycheck and you're setting that money aside for those bills so that at the end of um, your budgeting cycle, you have that money set aside. And then when the bill is actually due, you have the money ready to go. Hey, Daisy. I'm sorry, I don't speak Spanish, so I'm not sure what that says. The money I have left over at the end of the month and save it for a trip with the family. I love that. But I do want to invest. Which app or place do you recommend? For investing, my favorite places are the tried and true places: Fidelity, Vanguard, Charles Schwab. Those are my absolute favorites. I know there are a ton of places where you can go, but those to me really they care about their investors, especially the new investors. They have lots of resources and they will walk you through the process. Obviously, no one will advise you as to which type of fund to use or to invest in. I actually have a full investing course inside of Super Savers. So Super Savers is the membership program, but and we talk about all of them. But you can also just go on Fidelity or Vanguard or even Charles Schwab, and they have some resources there that will help you a little bit more. If you have any questions about what type of funds you're looking at, I can help you by telling you more information about funds, but not specific funds, just types of funds. Oh, it's Carla. Oh, hey, Carla. How are you? I'm so glad you're here. I always pay more than I have to with bills or other payments. Pay more as in you're like it's a $25 bill and you're paying $30? Or do you feel like you want to save money and you feel like you're paying too much? What do you think of Robinhood app? I personally am not a very big I'm not a big proponent of those types of apps. I like the tried and true ones because we've seen a lot of things in the last couple years and Robinhood was part of that thing with GameStop and all of that. It was not good for the investors. And I feel like when you stick with the ones that have been around and are there for their investors, those are the ones that you can have peace of mind knowing that your money is safer, much safer. So I feel like it's it's not something I would personally recommend to my daughters. So I have, if you don't know, I have a 21-year-old who has started investing already. She started when she was 20. Um, and I would never tell her to go to Robinhood. She went straight to Fidelity because I use Fidelity personally. We also have some Vanguard. I think those I'm not against other apps. I just prefer the apps that I know work the best, and they are actual brokerage firms that are discount brokerage firms. They have the best fees, and they really do like help you save money while you're investing. There are a lot of apps that give a lot of fees that you don't even know about. They're kind of hidden in the back end, and you don't even realize that they're taking all this money out throughout the year because they're tiny little fees. And when it comes to things like the issue with GameStop, which happened maybe a couple years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, they paused people from selling. Like they shouldn't be able to do that. Like they froze things. So that's scary when you want to be able you should have access to your funds anytime. So you have to be very careful with who you decide to go with. And if you are a brand new investor, I would definitely stick with more tried and true brokerage firms. And Fidelity and Vanguard are two of the top discount brokerage firms because they're a do it yourself type of brokerage firm. Also, you don't want to have to hire a fund manager to manage your fund because they take excessive amounts of fees for things that you can do on your own and literally automate. You don't have to really look at it. Fidelity and Vanguard both have really great funds that kind of manage themselves, which is why they charge you very small fees because since it's managing itself, it's not a lot of work on their end and you don't have to actively manage it either. So you get to live your life in the front end while you're generating wealth in the back end. I'm trying to save up money for the rest of this year. How? That's a great question. So, it depends on what areas you're looking at. Now, the first thing I would do if you're starting a savings journey and you don't know where to begin, I would first start with looking at what your expenses have been for the last month or 2. Figure out where you normally spend your money and what those totals are. So if you're taking a month or 2, I would add all those totals up for the last month or 2 and then divide by 2 so you can kind of get an average because sometimes some months are higher than others or lower than others. So I would average that out first. Then I would go in and I would figure out which areas of my spending do I feel are in a good level and which ones should I be working on. Once you figure out which of those categories you need to be working on, then, or if you already know that, go ahead and put it in the comments, and we can talk about it. But then we can really come up with a game plan to help you start saving money this week. This is the second year I have done a no spend and pantry challenge January. That's awesome. I think I will in concrete do those savings challenge and pantry. Okay, that's awesome. Weeble is really good. Yes. Um Weeble is one that I think probably to me is the better of them. If we're talking about the app ones. Webull hasn't had any scandals, hasn't had any weird, sketchy things happen. A lot of my friends in the space prefer Webull. They have some of their investments with Webull, and they also, you know, feel like Webull is a good place. I personally do not have investments with them, but I have heard great things about their product. So, yes, I agree. Webull is a good one. Thanks for the info about investing. I'm going to go look into it. Absolutely. I'm happy to help. Eat what you have in the freezer, pantry, and cabinets. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Some canned and frozen vegetables with some instant potatoes and chicken. Yeah. You can literally make so many variables of your dinners with just very few simple ingredients. And I say this a lot too. We buy a lot of food, we as in a collective we, and a lot of times we forget that we have that food ready to go, right? It's sitting in our pantry, it's sitting in our freezer, and every week we go back and we buy more food. Let's start utilizing what we actually already paid for before we go out and buy more. So before you create your menu plan, look at what you have in your freezer, your fridge, your pantry. And I talk about this, on a lot of the shorts too. When you do that, you have so much more that you can save that week because you're using what you've already paid for previously. A lot of times you're just going to supplement with very minimal ingredients that week. So you can actually use the bulk of what you already have and then supplement. And if you're someone who doesn't have a lot of bulk at home, like you don't have a lot of things in your pantry, you feel like things get really like sparse before you go to the grocery store, that's okay. I can show you how to start stocking up slowly so that you always have a stockpile that you can go to. It doesn't have to be massive. You can just have 2 or 3 of something so that you always have things on hand that you can make quick, easy dinners with. That's really important. When you can set your kitchen up in a way that has like all of the things that you need, or at least the primary things that you need, the shelf stable ones, you will be so much better off because you'll be able to save money every single week. Even to this day, I do not spend more than $100 on a week's worth of groceries. And that's if I've purchased meat or eggs, which are really expensive right now. But for the most part, I'm not spending that much money. And I live in a very high cost living area. So I know that it is possible. And I've seen many other people do the same thing. And I know that if you just set your systems up at home first the right way, you're going to start saving money before you even leave your home because you're going to have all of the planning and all of the strategies ready to go, and they just automatically help you save money without you having to think too much. You don't have to clip coupons, you don't have to go around shopping, 7 different stores to get the best deals. You will still save money because you're using what you have first. Is this something new or just trying out? Do you mean the YouTube Live? This is our very first one, as you know. So, yeah, we're testing it out and seeing if this is something that you guys want to continue. I would love to hang out with you guys and do YouTube lives. I may try to do all of the streaming at once where I have all of the social media up at once. For now, I'm just kind of going one by one and being able to just hang out with you on different platforms. Could I freeze eggs now that they are expensive? Yes, you can absolutely freeze eggs. So I would cook them ahead of time first and then freeze them. You won't be able to freeze them in their raw state. They won't come out the same. If you're 22 with $500, what should you do? You should work overtime, and when you get to $1,000, make that a goal. Save $1,000 twice a year. So are you saying you're if you're 22 and you have just $500, no other money coming in for another 6 months, or is it $500 a month that you have? Cuz at 22, if you are still in college or you're still living with your parents, you have a really good big advantage, and I would invest. I wouldn't just save it, I would invest it, because at 22, investing, if you were to just invest $200 or even $100 per month at the age of 22, you'll be a millionaire by the time you retire. Investing is a long game. The earlier you go in the market, the more money you will make, because it's about having the time in the market. Time is your greatest asset when it comes to investing, because it's about compound interest. You allow compound interest to do its best work the longer you allow your money to sit there. Okay? Most of us get dinged from compound interest on the credit card side. So if you have credit card debt, you are being dinged with compound interest and you are paying way more than you need to. Investing, compound interest works for you, not against you. So the more money and time, the more time you have in the market, the better. So as a 22-year-old, I would definitely put that in investing. Now, I know that with 22-year-olds, a lot of them, it took a while for me to kind of get my daughter to understand that, like, this is money you're not going to touch for a while. And they don't like that because they are a generation that is not used to waiting, and it's out of sight, out of mind, and it feels like you're just taking money from me that I'm not going to see for 30, 40 years. And it's true, but then you'll be a millionaire with you just living your life and just doing the same thing over and over. You're going to continue making more money, but you don't have to put more money. Does that make sense? So when you start early, you're not scrambling to try to make up for lost time. Cassandra, doing the challenge since the beginning of the year. I have ingrained it to my kiddos and hubby. We got to eat what we got. I think they can't stand me. Okay, so I have a tip for you, Sarah. If you're feeling like your family is starting to kind of feel like they're in a rut and they don't want to eat the things that you're making on a regular basis because that's what you've got, definitely start, like you said, you want to get creative. Definitely start looking at some websites that allow you to find recipes based on the ingredients you have. Two of my favorite websites, they're absolutely free, but I use them all the time, is um, fridge2table.com, fridge2table.com, all one word, and allrecipes.com. Those two are my favorites. You literally just put in the ingredients that you have on hand and it'll throw out several dozens of recipes with those ingredients so that you're constantly making something different and there's variety, but you're still able to use what you've got. You have to inflation proof the second high expensive in the home next to housing. Food, it's more than car notes. It really is. It is more than car notes, especially because it's something that we know is a necessity, right? I remember when I first started trying to save money on my groceries and I'd walk into the grocery store and I would buy all this expensive food with the justification in my mind that, well, this is better than eating takeout. It's cheaper than eating takeout. And while it was, I wasn't really doing myself a favor by spending more money than I needed to, right? So that money starts to add up pretty quick. At one point, we were anywhere between $1,200 and $1,500 a month for a family of four. People always hear that and they're like, "For what? How? Why?" It's expensive. It's expensive if you're not paying attention. And I was not paying attention because I was still new at it. Saving money wasn't my priority when I first started. I'm a recovering spender. I'm someone that loved to spend money. I didn't care about budgeting. I didn't care about any of that stuff. It took a really long time and a lot of big missteps for me to get to a place where I'm like, this is important for me to be paying attention to. And so now it's a completely different outlook on things. And it is very important for you to be paying attention to your grocery costs because the money that you can save in your groceries by still feeding your family well and getting everything that you need can make a huge difference in paying off debt earlier, saving more money, investing for your future. It can do so many things. I went from, I'm going to say 1200 at the low end because we were at 12 to 1500, but I always say 1200. I went from 1200 to $400 a month. I didn't do it overnight. It wasn't in 1 month. Like it took time to get to the 400. But when I got there, I have been there for over a decade. That's insane. Prices have skyrocketed. Things have gone crazy. There's shelves that are empty, right? There's all of these things that are happening, and yet I'm still able to continue stabilizing my grocery budget because the principles are there. The things that I do are tried and true. If you ever need help with that or you want to know how I do it, there is a grocery savings course on the website. You absolutely don't have to take it, but if you're looking for something that gives you direct information that has everything there for you, it's all there. So you guys can always go to savingwiz.com. It's also the blog. Savingwiz.com is also a blog. It also gives you access to the podcast. There's a bunch of resources. If you haven't picked up my freeze list, you should. It's a freebie. All you have to do is download it. I give you 30 of my absolute favorite foods that when you freeze them, you automatically start saving money. And everybody that has downloaded it, I get messages all the time like, I had no idea you could freeze these things. So if you haven't picked that up, you should go to savingwiz.com. You can pick up that freebie and just download it tonight so that you have it for your next shopping trip. Happy Women's Day. Happy Women's Day. Hello, hello. I'm so happy you're here. Hi, Sherry. How are you? Yes, please. Yes. You look so young. My jaw dropped that you have a 20-year-old. Yes. Thank you very much. Yeah, I had her at 20. So, um, every time I say that I have a 21-year-old, people are like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know." Yes, you should totally do it at least once a week. The lives? I hope that's what you're talking about. Okay. Do it. I will be on. Okay, so you guys are talking about the lives. Okay. Awesome. I will definitely do that. If you are not on I'm trying to think of ways that I can tell you ahead of time. What I'll do is I'll schedule them out. So if you come on the YouTube app, you'll be able to see them scheduled out. That way I don't have to like you're not having to wait for me to tell you, "Hey, I'm gonna hop on a live." It'll be scheduled and then you'll know about it. I think that might be easier, right? Someone asked that question and deleted it. What question? I don't I must have missed it. She needs a Webull account and high interest savings account. Yes, I totally agree with that. One cheap and fairly easy thing I make at least once a week using mostly ingredients I have already is pizza. Yes, from scratch. So cheap, so easy, I can get super creative. Yeah, and it's so delicious. I don't know if you've noticed this, but when you make pizza at home, the the flavor is elevated. It's, like, completely different. I don't know, even just, like, the delivery pizza has a very processed taste to it compared to homemade pizza. And you know what I do sometimes too is I'll make pita pizzas, or if I have French bread, I'll just make French bread pizzas, which are amazing, amazing. But literally, you can use any bread to make pizzas. If you have sliced bread, you can make pizza. If you have bagels, obviously pizza bagels, amazing. There's so many ways that you can make pizza, and you can make your dough yourself. You can make like a dough if you have time. You can even make the dough on a weekend and then just freeze a big batch of dough and just have it like, split into pizza size pieces. Throw it in the freezer and then the night before, throw that dough in the fridge to thaw, and then you're ready to go with a pizza. It is amazing. Actually, I wanna make that soon. Thank you for the reminder. Pizza's amazing at home. What should be some primary things to save in the pantry, and how do you suggest to keep them since we have had bad experiences? That's a really great question. You wanna keep staple ingredients, so things like rice, pasta, um, potatoes keep really well, okay? Those are like your main sides. Always have frozen vegetables because frozen vegetables are waiting for you when you need them versus if you're buying fresh vegetables to use, and this used to happen to me all the time, is I had the best of intentions. I'd buy all these fresh vegetables that look delicious in the store, and then I'd come home and I would be like, "Okay, I'm gonna make this on Monday and this on Tuesday." And then by Thursday, Friday, I'm like, "Oh, I didn't make any of those things." And now they've spoiled, right? But when they're in the freezer, they're first of all, they're fresh because they freeze them at the peak of their French freshness. So you're actually getting a really good product and they're waiting for you. So whenever you're ready to use them, just pop them out of the freezer. It just makes it so much simpler. So those are some things that you can start uh, stocking up on. Pasta sauce or cans of tomato puree. I personally use cans of tomato puree. I never buy pasta sauce because it has a lot of sugar. And I never grew up on pasta sauce. I always grew up on my mom making our pasta sauce with tomato puree. So we add up our own ingredients in it. Literally takes 7 minutes to the second because I time it. Um, because I forget otherwise and it'll burn. But while the pasta is cooking, the sauce actually gets finished before the pasta cooks. So it's ready to go. If you have things like that on hand and then some protein options like chicken or meat, try to find more inexpensive cuts of meat. Like if you find stew meat or chuck steak or things like that, they tend to be more inexpensive, and then you can slow cook them in a crock pot over the weekend. You can make a huge batch of it and then you have it ready to go. And then you can like pre shred them, put some in the freezer in like meal sized portions. There is so much you can do. It'll help you save money, it'll help you save time in the kitchen, and you'll be feeding your family really well without having to break the bank. So it's like a win win win. I'm a recovering spender. Me too. Made a lot of mistakes with my finances, and in the past year I've paid off 13,000 of consumer debt as a single mom. Congratulations, that's fantastic. That is so true. I'm so glad that you shared your story here, Libby, because that's amazing. And yes, anything is possible to overcome. It's just about creating a strategy and understanding the principles that help you move forward. We've gone from 1,200 a month to maybe 6 to 800. That's amazing. Incorporating ingredients we have already in the pantry and freezer into a week by week meal. I love that. I love that. Yeah, it really does help a ton. Can I ask you a question? Sure. You just did, though. I'll have to check out your freeze list. Yes. If you guys just hopped on here, we have a freeze list that's absolutely free. Just go to savingwiz.com. I'll just put it in the comments actually so you have it. Um you can start saving money as soon as you download the list because it gives you so many options to not have to consistently purchase the same thing over and over every week. Instead, what you do is you save the money and then you've got it for a long period of time, and then you don't have to worry about looking for sales during that time or any of that. I've pinned the message for you guys. Um, so it makes a world of a difference. When you understand what you can freezing alone and using that for so many of your items, you're going to be able to save a lot of money because then you can stock up when things are at their lowest price. There are a lot more questions, and we have already hit our 30-minute mark. We're at 42 minutes. I'm going to give 3 more minutes so we hit 45 minutes. And then we are going to have to continue this conversation in the next live. And maybe we'll do this on a weekly basis because I would love to continue helping you guys and have time to spend with you, and we can get to know each other a little more. So, definitely, if you have any last minute questions, I would quickly add them here and I'll try to get to them. Can chicken or sardines and Can chicken or sardines and corned beef hash? Yes, they do. Very long shelf life. That is very true. You can also get a bunch of chicken breasts, bake it or broil it, and then shred it and put it in the freezer in freezer bags or in containers, and that also lasts a very long time. So you have options. Canned chicken sometimes can be expensive because it's very convenient, and chicken breast can be cheaper actually. So check out both options and see which one is better in your store, which one is better priced. How can I keep dry fruit to last longer? Jarring. Um, I would say you can probably still freeze dried fruit. You can freeze nuts, so I'm sure you can freeze dried fruit too. That's a good question. I've never actually had that question come up. So I'll double check. So Sarah, if you come on the next live, remind me. I'm gonna check it tonight. Remind me and I'll let you know what comes up. But I think you can freeze it. Yes, the umami flavor is over the top when it's homemade pizza. Yes, I agree. Um, should I use employee stock option program money to pay off debt? No. No, never take out investments to pay debt, guys. Don't do that. I can help you pay off debt faster. The more that you can save money on the other everyday things, the more you can pay off your debt faster. Stock option programs, not every employer offers those. They sometimes are wealth makers. You don't want to risk losing that opportunity for short-term debt that you can pay off. So let me help you, Daisha or Dasha, because yeah, you definitely don't want to take that option. You have a really good thing going with stock options. Um, where do you shop for groceries? Do you have a strategy for getting the best prices? I do, and I talk about how I shop for groceries in the Grocery Game Changer class. It's a 30-minute class, super super easy. But it like gives you the information so you're on your way and start saving money right away. If you want more information, you can go to savingwiz.com to learn more about it, but I talk about exactly how I shop for groceries because I am not loyal to a specific grocery store. I am loyal to my wallet, which means that when I'm looking at ads, I'm paying attention to which grocery stores are gonna serve me better that week. I try not to overbuy on food. I'm a single person. As a single person, you can still stock up and have the food waiting for you when you need it in your freezer, in your pantry, in your fridge without having to feel like you're overbuying. So you can still buy, and I say this a lot, and a lot of my students are single. Like with no kids, they just live alone. They once they started buying family packs of things, they were saving money and they always had food on hand. You don't have to buy a ton. You can buy 1 family pack of chicken. You're not gonna buy like 6 packs, right? But you'll buy 1 family pack and then you split it into meal-sized portions specifically for you, and then you've got chicken for like a month, right? So it makes a big difference. It'll still save you money. Household of 7. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Hello, hello. Okay, okay, you guys, it is 46 minutes. We're gonna have to end this live here. There are a bunch of other questions I didn't get to. I'm so sorry. I love you guys so much. Thank you for spending this time with me. I don't take it lightly that you could be anywhere else. And the fact that you're spending time with me today makes me so happy and fills my cup. I hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your night. And I'll try to come back on another live maybe in a week or so. Have a wonderful night. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.